My watch says it's time to start meetings.
Your watch is old.
Well, that's true.
Just like him.
I'll call, yeah, exactly. I'll call the roll, see if they always do. Keith, all good?
Present.
Me, Tom Collins.
Here.
Tony Gross.
Here.
Brian McKay.
Here.
Mike Patno. Not here. Glenn Remick.
Here.
Chuck Slater.
Here.
Bob Stover.
Here.
Sharon Armstrong.
Here.
John Lawless.
Here.
Jennifer Noble.
Here.
They're all here. Brittany's not. I declare that there's a quorum. I'll hear a motion to approve the November 14th
So moved.
commission meeting minutes. Been moved. Do I have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next is the motion to approve the December 12th, 2019 planning commission minutes.
Meeting agenda.
They got that? Okay, meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
aye. All right, next item is old business from the Pearson property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We received the volatile organic compound report from the McPherson property. We did not include the entire report for your edification. I think torturing one of us was enough in this circumstance. What we did find and what was shared with Mr. Lawless and I in the meeting with the geotechnical engineer and the lab technician who actually ran the test on the cores that we had drilled was that they were both very surprised that two chemicals showed up in the report. I don't think that I was as surprised as they were given where the fill came from. Those two compounds are below the tolerance level for residential development. However, had we not made them remove some of the fill material, we would have been looking at a very different report. Both of the elements that were found are known carcinogenics. I believe that the best that I can deduce it with a couple of phone calls and a whole lot of conversation with Metro, the fill that was removed came from the racetrack at the fairgrounds. They, like railroad facilities that do repairs, the manufacture of aircraft, the manufacture of seagoing vessels, and a couple of other outlets are allowed to use chemicals that are not present anywhere else.
What were the contaminants?
Pardon?
What were the two contaminants?
They are in your report.
Trithylbenzene and acetone.
Yes, they're a little bit difficult to pronounce. Trithylbenzene is one. Trithylbenzene is a blended product. It has some elements of benzotone. It also has an organic compound that binds that benzotone together to an ethylene product, which are known carcinogenics. Acetone is also a known carcinogenic. Acetone is used as a stripper element, a parts cleaner, a tire wheel cleaner. It's used as a binding agent in some paint materials which are no longer allowed for public consumption, which is why you're having trouble finding enamel paint oil-based. So the percentages and elements that are present are below the tolerance level established by the EPA. One, I think, was at, I believe, 11% and the other at 1.06. Where we chose to core drill were two areas that, frankly, I chose because I had concerns given what I saw come out of the hole. So the material elsewhere is clean. I just needed you to be aware that the core drill was done, the report was done, the lab tests were done, and they were a contained chain of custody environment examination. I was on the site when the drill was done. I was on the site when it was captured, on the site when it was tagged, and then that tag was not removed until it got to the lab. So that's what we have. But that's all that on that particular part of the McPherson item. Are there any questions from anyone regarding the VOC report? The second item on the agenda related to Mr. McPherson, as I discussed with you last month, the surveyor failed to put an easement that transects parcel 2 or lot 2 or area 2 of their development plan from about where Miss Eva is, over behind the storage buildings and serviced the little white house that's behind the storage facility. The surveyor called, explained to me that he disclosed that information to Mr. McPherson in June. They did not bother to disclose it to us. So we have a preliminary plat that was presented to this planning commission back in May, combining those three parcels together. The easement is not present on that plat. State law says if there's a flawed easement, you have to revocate its approval. So I am asking for this planning commission to revocate the approval of that preliminary plat. They are in the process of creating a new preliminary plat with the easement on it that will be resubmitted to the planning commission.
We have a motion to
So moved.
remove.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman, but in this particular instance, because it was a document that was filed, we have to have a voice vote.
Call the roll, John.
Excuse me, I'm Catherine Downs, and I live in...
You're not
the-
recognized.
Pardon?
Catherine. You're not recognized.
I'm not recognized?
No.
Well,
Not at
when
this
can I-
point. They can close the meeting. What is it, Jennifer? Here, suspend the rules.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can make a motion to suspend the rules, but right now, you're just here on this motion to vote on
Let us take care of this motion. I know who you are, so.
Well, I didn't know if y'all was discussing about the plat that he was making on the easement, or if that'd be another time.
All right, call the roll.
Keith Allgood,
Aye.
Tony Campbell,
Aye.
Tom Cullen,
Aye.
Tony Gross,
Aye.
Ron McCain,
Aye.
Mike Padno is absent, Glenn Remick,
Aye.
Chuck Slater,
Aye.
Bob Stoll.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, let me ask her one question. You say the easement runs from, by Miss Eva's up to their place?
That's my understanding
See, that's not what I was told.
from my
That's where it
understanding.
always was.
I know, but John, oh, never mind. Go ahead, Catherine. Well,
Motion to suspend the rules.
right.
Second.
We have a second. Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Catherine, you recognize.
Well, I spoke to Mr. McPherson about the easement and the right of way when he was doing his excavating down there, and I had, mentioned how it went and all, and so, he thought it was for the power lines and water lines. He didn't recognize what it was. And so the plan that he had told me he was going to come up with, his foreman, Walter, was going to call me, and I asked him that if I did give him my right of way through there before he made his, whatever, how he was going to do my driveway. He told me he'd bring it out beside, it goes down beside my barn to the right side of his driveway down to the road frontage. But then he wanted to connect it to his road, and I said, no, I don't want it connected to anything of yours, because if something happens, then I've got to go through this all again. I want my own right of way. So he thought it was fair to connect me to his right of way and keep it up, and me give him the rest all the way across there. And I said, that's not, what I said fair. So you'll make my driveway and put me a gate at the end of it with lock on it, so nobody from the apartments here can use my driveway, and I don't have to worry about. I'll keep up my own. And so that's where I am with him, and I haven't heard back from his foreman or anybody on it, so I don't know if he's, recognized it or what I need to do to see that it's taken out to have. We discussed it before he started trying to do differently. I don't know.
Now, where we are in that process at this point is nowhere. We've just revocated the preliminary plat that was submitted because it did not contain an easement that was on the deed. I have not physically, Mr. Campbell, to answer your question, surveyed the easement. The surveyor is relaying that it transects the property as you're standing at the street, that it goes across the property. And that's what she's not in her head. What they have proposed, and I told them I can't give them guidance. That is a property owner to property owner issue that we have, but he does have to rectify the fact that he's removed her easement and put it under soil and compacted it. So his suggestion, I don't know what his discussion was with her, with the property owner adjacent to him, but the discussion that they're having with the planning department and with the city is that her easement would lie within his private road, accessing the property on the left-hand boundary between her and the storage, or him and the storage building. And then at the point that his paved road terminates, he will still have to provide a usable access for her. whether that means grading because she had a usable access before. So the deed record references that her driveway was a prescriptive easement that was laid out at a width of 40 feet and was usable. That's the language in the deed. So he can't give her less than she has now. So at the point that his pavement terminates, he will have to install a usable driveway. I have suggested to them that if she's in agreement, because it's not our issue, it's between the two property owners, that we can use the model that we did for the Andrews subdivision, where the grade is addressed because it's too steep past the end of where he wants to terminate for her to have good use of it. Install geotex fabric, bind the edges with steel edging, and then put in a gravel driveway. If she wants a gate, that's between them. I've also told him the city will not enter any discussions where we would tell him and her that she had to pay for maintenance of that road because she is the one who has sustained the loss. It's just like with Patel, it has nothing to do with us. So whatever agreement they come up with, then the deed is going to have an amendment filed to it. Then the plat will have to come here, and they can't file an amendment to the deed with a legal description of the right-of-way until we approve a preliminary plat. So
You
that's the
satisfied,
process
Kevin?
we've directed.
All right.
And I will be happy to give you my phone number, so if you have questions or concerns, I'll be happy to answer them. I had asked for your information from Mr. McPherson some time ago.
He's hard to keep in touch with us.
That's
On
all
purpose.
they have on that.
All right, we're back in session.
Motion to restore the rules.
Second.
All in
Move
favor?
second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All right. Next item is John McElroy, Brian McCain. Where's John? Maybe I'll forget this.
I won't be involved, I guess, on it.
I understand.
What's the local B and C?
B and C. You're not
This
on
last
last
one?
month's
Okay.
agenda. Thought we were done with that. All right, Brian.
Okay. We've got 3 tracts of land that for Dillard Investments. We have to subdivide and come up with the maximum lots that they can to develop these 3 parcels into as many lots as they can get on along Mount Pleasant Road. It's pretty steep along the back. It fronts on the Interstate 40 and a private owner in the back as well. It's got a 6-inch water line along Mount Pleasant Road to service it. We're waiting on the soil scientist to give a preliminary for these lots so I can figure out where our grid needs to actually go. But it will be private septic on each individual lot. And that's pretty much it.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a comment. I'm not particularly happy with putting 12 driveways on that stretch of Mount Pleasant, 12 more. I'd like to see some alternates that we could possibly
I basically
make.
agree. People go real fast on that road.
Well, usually there's a city policeman out there at least several times a day sitting there. But the fact is that
TC?
One of his favorite places, Plot 7 here.
yeah, well, they move around quite a bit up there, but I don't think, I just don't want to see another 12 driveways in that every 150 or 180 feet. Now, maybe is there some way we could look at suggesting that they relook at the way these lots have been drawn? Maybe limit the number of access points or curb cuts to 3 or 4, or have a road, an access road behind there someplace before the drop off to the interstate.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, that's it. No, the last half of the lot is usable because you got a 200-foot drop.
Brian, when we look at this map against the roadway, we have some numbers. Is this the width width of the, for number one, for example, 76, is how, the footage between? Well, then the second one on lot 2, we had two numbers.
Right.
And then we had two.
That means
so
the portion of the tangent and the portion of the curve. Yeah, to add those together to get the total lot width.
So, the first one is 76 feet, the third one is 202?
It would be C1 plus 76.
C1,
So it'd
Plus
be
76.
121 plus 76.
all right, so it's 121, I don't see the 121 there, okay, plus 76.
It'd be C1. C1 is 121.30, and then you add the tangent.
Oh, okay, there's numbers over here, I see this.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. So basically a driveway every 200 feet, correct?
Mhm.
225 feet to, every 200 feet.
Tom, this is kind of like that one that we looked at on the north end of the county.
Well, there's one over here by the, what's the road? Behind Pegram there on top of the hill before you get to the dump.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Street.
Off of Sam's Creek, it goes,
Englewood or?
no, it's past Tanglewood, but somebody wanted to divide it up, put half dozen lots with 6 entrances and about 400 feet, you know. They're narrow and long.
Three discussions.
Pardon?
We have three discussions going on, I think.
Yeah, please. We have three discussions going on, so let's
Yes, sir.
cut it down to no more than one.
I know we're discussing driveways. We don't have a limitation on distance within the regulations for how far driveways have to be separated because you're in town grid. The suggestion that Mr. Cullen has is not a bad suggestion, but once they leave the pavement and put a road in, it's a private road. We prohibit the service of more than one lot in addition to the lot that's being built on from a private road. So
If they could give that road to the city and then it would not be private
They
anymore.
could, if they were willing to put a road in, they would have to dedicate it to the city, but then you would have a road next to a road.
What if you put a turn lane the entire length?
Well,
If we require them
I'm
to put
trying
a
to
turn
figure out
lane.
if we put a turn lane in, if we put a deceleration lane in across the face of these lots, one, is there sufficient width in that location to get it? And two, is that something that you want deeded to the city?
I don't know, I just want
I'm
to see if
just saying,
there's a way
it's
we
something
can
to
resolve
think
this
about.
issue without,
I'm looking for an
12
alternate, that's what.
Yeah.
There's 12 driveways on the other side of the street, by
Right.
the way.
Yeah.
There's
Potential
12
for it. Yeah,
properties,
two of them are on the corner.
including
So.
Patterson Drive, right across the street from there.
Smaller lots.
I'm not saying we can't make the suggestion to the property owner and to the developer, but we don't have any mechanism within the regulations to push them into that.
we cannot approve the plan.
Everything else on the, well, everything on the plat, the preliminary plat meets regulations. The separation of lot width, the setbacks, the building envelope, we don't require, and that may change the configuration of the lots when the soil test comes in for primary and duplicate soil grid for these, may change it because there are some pretty
It
steep.
probably will, probably 9 and 10.
I think it's going to lessen, if it follows the path of most areas with steep topography, it will lessen the number of lots because they won't be able to get in primary and duplicate on it. But this is a preliminary view. No action can be taken. Lots cannot be sold from this document. This is simply a preliminary layout that you're reviewing. It doesn't get filed anywhere.
Well, can't Brian take this back to the developer, Gary Scott, and whoever else is involved, and ask for suggestions? Tell them about the concerns that we have?
Sure, absolutely.
Is the intention of the landowner to sell the lots or build and sell the sites as, you know what his intention?
From what I understand, he's going to sell them as buildable lots.
Buildable lots, okay.
That is the intent as conveyed by the realtor and the agreement that has been
Say
signed.
he doesn't have much choice.
When you say neighborhood, you know, it's hard to imagine.
All right, anybody else have any other comments on this? Ryan, do you have any questions?
I still what I'm told.
Hopefully you were listening. Anybody else have any comments? Hearing none? Any additional business to come before this?
You have to vote on this. He can't move forward with the final until the preliminary is approved or disapproved. It's a preliminary plat right now. So you gotta vote it up or down, you're on a 35-day time clock.
Do we have a motion?
What do we have to move on?
Approve this primary plat.
Preliminary.
Preliminary, not primary. Thank
Motion to approve.
Second.
you. Any motion and a second. Any discussion?
Does he need to recuse himself? Or?
I'll abstain when we get to that.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Do you have to individually vote on this?
Not on this one.
Oh, I formally abstained.
I heard you. Those opposed, motion carried.
No,
No.
Oh, we had how many?
2 noes.
you know.
So noted.
For those of you that did not give me your homework, we have 3 excused absences. Mr. Gross, Mr. Campbell, and Mr. Cullen.
I attended.
And you attended all 3 of them too, so he's excused as well. If you attended that community outreach, you're excused. There's a state law that requires us to certify that you have your
Here's my
training.
homework.
So.
Well, I did my homework. Did I get some kind
You
of
did.
did I get bonus points for that too?
You do. I will write it down. They did 9 hours of training, 9.5 hours, so that's a big deal.
I've written so much.
But we have to certify this by the 31st, so those of you that did not get your stuff in, yeah, just don't make me do it on New Year's Eve. I'll work it out.
The other thing we have to do is our report to the Secretary of State on conflict of interest.
Yes, by January 31st. Conflict of interest, and one other note, we will have elections in our January meeting for chair, vice chair, and secretary.
Any other business to come before this august body? Hearing none, we have a motion to
Move to adjourn.
close. Second. Second, move second, non-debatable motion. Done.